Stop moving. Ugh. Jesus Christ! Whew. Now, before I start, I just want to mention one thing. That's, of course, the PSVR. Now, this thing is fantastic. I mean, it's a great piece of tech. I've had it for about 3 years now. It's been essentially my only VR headset that I've owned. And it is phenomenal. And by no means am I done using this thing. This thing is great. I still have a bunch of games I want to play with this thing. This thing is a great VR headset. But for the lack of a better word, it's been replaced. And that's, of course, with the Oculus Quest. Now, this thing has been out for a year. Now, I'm not saying I've owned it for a year, but I am saying that for the last year, this thing has been clawing its way up, and it's, by many, considered the best VR headset out there. My question to that is it? And most importantly, this is year-old tech now. Is it still worth it today? Well, let's find out. Alright, I gotta be honest. When this released, it was not on my radar at all. I mean, tetherless VR that was leagues better than shitty mobile VR was enticing, but I was more than satisfied with the PSVR for the longest time. Then suddenly in November 2019, a huge feature dropped, Oculus Link. Now, I was still pretty oblivious by this point. Other than the glorious modding community, I was not super interested in dropping some serious green to make the full jump to PC VR, since most of the huge titles were making the jump to PS4 anyway. Not to mention, I'm a bit of a collector, so the physical nature of PlayStation games, well, I wasn't going anywhere. That was until another small thing reared its head, and was announced the same month. Half-Life Alyx. And yeah, my interest was piqued. And then, the pandemic hit. The perfect and literally worst time to try and get a VR headset. With everyone social distancing and entering quarantine, the interest for VR skyrocketed, and so did the demand for it. I mean, from what I've read, getting your hands on a Quest has been a bit touch and go in 2019, but in 2020, it was nearly impossible, at least at retail price. So yeah, I managed to get my hands on one thanks to a lot of patience, cause seriously, screw scalpers. But yeah, regardless, let's dive into the actual headset itself. And to cover my bases, let's talk about the actual technical specs. This wireless headset runs on a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chip. It sports an OLED display with a resolution of 1440 and 1600 per eye. And I do have to mention that the OLED screen is my favorite. Now, it has the issue of a more noticeable screen door effect than an LED display, but it has the strength of displaying impeccable black levels, which is a necessity for games like Half-Life Alyx. The Quest comes in two flavors, 64 gigs and 128. And I honestly recommend the 64 gig nowadays because of Link. But even before, apps on the Oculus Store are pretty small, usually not exceeding 3 gigabytes. So even at launch, the 64 was not going to fill up fast. Each Quest comes with 2 Oculus controllers, and these feel fantastic. I mean, compared to the PlayStation Move controllers, these are great. Mostly because of analog sticks. The average battery life of a Quest is 2 to 3 hours depending on the app. It weighs 20 ounces and comes with a cradle-style head strap, which I like, but I still prefer the head strap of the PSVR. And with the specs out of the way, all I can really say is, yeah, this is a great standalone headset. I mean, I know I wasn't sold on it at launch, but I should have paid more attention. The freedom of no cords is great, not to mention the glorious inside-out tracking has essentially made the needs for base stations a thing of the past. Well, sort of. I mean, the Index still uses them, to great effect, I might add, but ease of use here is great, and you can be up and running in a matter of minutes out of the box, with no huge setup required. But yeah, enough about the hardware. What about the software? Well, let's get to that too. I mean, as far as standalone Quest titles go, there are a bunch of quality titles. Some of the best are Beat Saber and Superhot VR. But my favorite on the Quest are actually Pistol Whip and Synth Riders. And I gotta be honest, I do love dancing games, and Synth Riders is one of the best, currently in my eyes. Besides the whole, party setting, you can actually have fun with this with friends. Just playing this by yourself is a really good workout. But, of course, my main one is Pistol Whip. And as a huge fan of arcade light gun games, rhythm games, and John Wick, this is a match made in heaven for me. Fast-paced action, all to some kick-ass songs, hell yeah. But very quickly I noticed that the library for the Quest was good, but not great, at least compared to the PC VR side. Well, once I bought a link cable, everything went to hell. That is when I began to delve deeper into the bigger games, like Boneworks, Saints and Sinners, and of course, the current crown jewel of the VR world, Half-Life Alyx. Now I know many will say that the experience is far better on the Index, but if you want to play Alyx and the Quest is your only real option these days, or the love of God, get it. By no means does this feel like a neutered experience. It's an incredible game, and exactly what VR needed right now. I'm sorry, I just have to gush for a second. As a huge fan of Half-Life, this is a beacon of light for the series and VR in general. The movement, the mechanics, and the overall immersion is second to none. It's truly an incredible experience and easily the must-have game for anyone interested in VR. Alright, sorry, enough gushing. So yeah, more on the headset itself. Now, some of you may be thinking, is this just a, watered down version of the Rift S? Or simply not up to par like something like the Vive or the Index? Well, surprisingly, that is really just not true. Alright, yes, the best headset is the Valve Index. But it is one hell of a pricey headset. Whereas, the strengths and weaknesses kind of balance each other out and everything, everyone looks like, oh, what's the best for certain people? Well, weighing every single, pro and con, a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, are labeling the Quest as the best headset. And I can understand why. Tetherless, with the option of PC VR, lightweight, no base stations, OLED display, amazingly low price, and the ease of use is very, very high. Now the only gripe I could really bring up about it is the fact that, it has somewhat of a low refresh rate at 72 Hz, but compared to the Rift S, which is only 80 Hz, it's not that detrimental. At least for me, it's not. And yeah, ever since the Oculus Quest got the ability to link your, headset to the PC, this thing has become, at least in my eyes, the best headset out there, bar none. And now I say ever since, even though there's a lot wrong with that statement, because while this is fairly brand new, at least compared to the actual, the year anniversary of this headset, you don't really need this at all. Like I said, I am embarrassingly new to the whole PC VR scene, so when I looked deeper, people began to point me towards virtual desktop. And let's just say, this headset was not just getting better in November 2019. Oh no. This headset has been a powerhouse since nearly launch. Virtual desktop has been around for ages with VR headsets, but the fact that it allows for wireless streaming from a computer to the headset makes the link cable not obsolete, but more of a great inclusion for people to take notice. But yeah, now I'm just kicking myself for not looking into virtual desktop any sooner. And on top of that, you don't even need a beefy computer to pull this off. You can now pull off wireless virtual desktop with a cloud PC. Yeah, that's a virtual PC streaming virtual reality content to your headset wirelessly. I mean, that is just nuts. That is some freaking Blade Runner shit, and honestly, it is so cool to see it actually function. Now, personally, I have to do this myself because I have a, setup at home. I can use my PC and just don't have to worry about a shadow PC at all. But the fact that that option is there and that people can do it very easily at a fraction of the cost of buying a brand new PC is incredible. But yeah, there's one caveat though. You do need a very, very strong internet connection. So there's kind of a bit of a give and take between virtual desktop and, link cable. But in my case, I got the best of both worlds. I can do wirelessly at home, and if I'm out and about with my friends, who don't really have that good of internet, I can use this. So yeah, this is great, no matter which way you slice it. Oh yeah, and speaking of the link cable, this actually wasn't that good of an option before either, because essentially to run PC VR content to your headset through Link, it had to be a special cable, either one sold by Oculus, which has been out of stock for freaking months, or a cable fast enough to actually stream the content. And you know what? That would have been a huge strike against the Link. But the fact of the matter is, literally a week before this video was made, Oculus updated that, and essentially made every cable, whether it be 3.0 or 2.0, compatible. Essentially opening the floodgates for everyone and anyone to enjoy without having to buy a brand new cable. And it just goes to show how still this thing's being supported even a year after. This thing ain't going anywhere, people. So yeah, in conclusion, I have to be honest. I mean, a year later, and this is easily shaping up to be one of the best headsets on the market, period. Disagree with me if you want, but not everyone has the money for a freaking Valve Index or even the room to put all those base stations around. I mean, seriously, the strengths of this thing easily outweigh the weaknesses. I mean, just for the complete freedom, the great modding community, the constant official development support, and the low price point compared to the others, it's kind of incredible how quickly this new VR revolution is evolving. I mean, back in the old days, VR was a neat pipe dream that was a fun gimmick. But now, it's a full-blown market, which honestly, thanks to the popularity of the Quest, is starting to gain a lot more traction. What else to review? And yeah, one more question eludes us. That's of course at retail price $399 or $499 if you don't want the more memory. Is this worth the money? And that is a resounding hell yes. No doubt about it, no question at all. This thing is fantastic. It's portable, it's versatile, and with the mining community and the freaking, Oculus development team behind it, this thing is still getting better and better and better. So yes, with no doubt in my mind, this is definitely worth the price of admission. Now I say retail because do not pay money to scalpers. I mean, yes, this thing's on eBay all over the place, but they're inflating prices. Just don't do that. Have patience. Just buy one on I bought mine at Best Buy. Just buy one online. Just look for deals. You'll find it eventually. And if you are wondering if you should wait for like the leaked future model, because Oculus has already pretty much rumored a Del Mar version of this. It's going to be the successor. I mean, people are saying that it might come out at the end of this year, but thanks to the pandemic, I seriously doubt that. I mean, I'm looking maybe realistically at the end of next year, but for now, this thing's here now. And even then, when the price goes down on this thing because the new one comes out, this thing will become even more of a bargain. So, even if the new one's better, this is still great enough to give a shit about. This thing is fantastic, and I just freaking love VR, and I cannot wait to see how much more evolved it gets in the future. And yeah, if you don't like VR, just get off that hate train. Join us. This thing is fantastic. But one more thing, and this is never going to change with VR, but I gotta mention it at least. No matter what you do, when you put on a VR headset, you're still going to look like a fool. But like I said in my PSVR review a long time ago, yeah, I look like an idiot. When I'm wearing this, I'm in nirvana. And do you honestly think I give a crap about what you think or call me? No. VR is that good. Seriously. Join us. But yeah, regardless, that's the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.